against the Warlock from North Carolina. So again, we want to reiterate the way this works is people can actually sideboard between matches. And for those of you who don't know what sideboarding is, it basically lets people modify the deck that they have after the match. So if you don't want to play, Handlock anymore, which we see here, then maybe they can switch to Zoo.
Exactly.
It makes Warlock a very good class for this because you can really play a bunch of archetypes with the class itself.
Yeah, and Mage as well. We've seen in the past a lot of Mages because Mage can basically play any archetype. They can play aggro, they can play sort of that mid-range, they can also play control with like Freeze Mage. So the flexible classes are the ones that we see a lot of these guys bring. But Arkansas looks like they're just going with, the standard tried and true ladder lineup with Druid, Paladin, and Hunter. They're really...
Yeah, it's hard to... I mean, right now, I think the metagame, if you had to ask anyone, what do you expect? They're kind of powerful classes. They ask the questions, right? So they're waiting for the answers, and if the opponent doesn't have them, they'll just capitalize on it and, kind of roll their way to the victory.
Now, Arkansas running Bear Trap, another mid-range hunter. Throughout the Collegiate Hearthstone Championship, most of the hunters that we've seen have been mid-range, and they've all been very similar, very beast-focused with King Zealot, Bear Trap, Ram Wrangler, Houndmaster. It's really interesting. It's like they all take a page from each other's books.
I find it weird because Ram Wrangler is not a card that you see every time. So, like, have you seen quite a bit of it?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It's been in almost every hunter deck that we've seen.
That's really interesting.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a TeSPA metagame, like a pocket of the meta.
It is. So what happens with TeSPA is that a lot of these guys play decks where they can really, they have time to collaborate on each individual play on each individual turn. There's 3 players, so decks that take too much time to talk about, they don't want to play, but decks that don't reward as much decision making, they don't play. So they find a middle ground.
Right.
And mid-range hunters, mid-range hunter is like sort of that perfect middle ground where it's not the easiest deck to play, but it's also not the hardest deck to play. So it's perfect when you have 3 people collaborating.
I mean, I think I can imagine a Freeze Mage play would take literally forever. But now, Dr. Boom got picked up with double high main. That's basically the equivalent of 2 challengers with Dr. Boom. Seems like Team Arkansas is
not
kind of
quite as good though. Yeah.
Team Arkansas is like, yeah, we win this.
when you're playing against a Paladin on ladder, you always expect them to have a Dr. Boom on 7. But now North Carolina knows that they have a Dr. Boom on 7 because they saw it win the joust.
And what's really cool about it too is that it doesn't mean you can kill it.
Yeah. You're just dreading it. You're trying to save cards, but at the end of the day, when that thing comes down, you're never prepared.
Oh, man. Web Spinner, Houndmaster on 5, High Main on 6, and Dr. Boom on 7. I think Team Arkansas got a pretty good sequence of plays here.
All I need is a Ram Wrangler to top it all off.
Yeah, I'm not a computer scientist, but I can do the math on this one. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, mid-range hunter is one of the stronger archetypes against Handlock, just because a lot of times their board is harder to remove. The cards that they stick down even after their early game is removed hit a lot harder, and they're a lot harder to take off the board. So a lot of times they can throw down a Savannah Hyman, throw down a Dr. Boom in that mid game, and then all they need is a little bit of burn, and they can close it out against Handlock.
Yeah, so here we see, there's the option, of course, to attack with the Void Caller, but I think at this point, what North Carolina is trying to do is get the Void Caller to die, because there's a chance when you attack that you run into Freezing Trap, which means suddenly you don't have the ability to soak up any damage, and you also don't get, free Void Caller, free Mal'Ganis on the board.
Which is bad.
Yeah, very bad.
It's very bad.
Not good. And there's no Owl either to deny that effect.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a tough spot for Arkansas, because their curve is okay. Yeah, they can use the Houndmaster, but do they really want to trade their board into a taunted up Ancient Watcher and a Void Caller that they have no idea what's on the other side of? It's a tough situation. They know that they want the board to be in the best state possible going into turn 6, where they know that they're going to be playing a high main, but
it's really tricky. It feels like the mind games might be what wins the, for North Carolina. Like the mind games factor is really big. It might play like such a big role that.
Well, they don't even need mind games. They have Mal'Ganis, Taraxis, and Void Caller in their hand.
Right. But like, if Arkansas is trying to navigate this, right, like everything can go wrong and everything will go wrong.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Twilight Drake's kind of a sitting duck. Like, I can't think of a turn where you play that with Void Caller in a situation like this one. But we'll see. All right, there they go. On the rope, finally making a move. They're going to pop the Void Caller or kill the Ancient Watcher. I'm not sure which one. Nothing.
Leave it alone.
What is Shadow Flame?
Yeah, Shadow Flame will punish them, but also you don't really want to attack into a Void Caller on your turn, because then you give your opponent a free attack. If they trade in their Void Caller, then unless it's a Doom Guard, they don't get the attack on that turn. A lot of times they don't get immediate benefit from it.
All right, so North Carolina is going to capitalize on this. I mean, the removal value of the Void Caller and the Sun Fury. I mean, he got to check for they got to check for Freezing Trap. It's a really big deal.
So the Bear Trap is still active, and we'll see if they do trade in the Mad Scientist. If they do run 2 traps in the deck, I've seen a lot of these beast-centric hunters run like 1 Bear Trap and 1 Snake Trap.
Yeah, that's right.
As their 2 traps. Sometimes you throw in a Freezing Trap, but if you're really going for beast-centric, why not bring both traps that give you beasts?
Ram Wrangler really allows you to get, because without Bear Trap and Snake Trap, sometimes your Ram Wranglers, I mean, you rely on web spinners, or like a really late game Haunted Creeper, which is a bit clunky. Hyenas, sometimes leftovers.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, I think Bear Trap and Snake Traps make, a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Why not?
Bear Trap is always that trap that you think about last also.
And you're like, why did I play into this?
You rule out all the traps and you're like, okay, it's explosive. And so you make your board play around explosives, and then all of a sudden you attack and there's a bear, and then...
Yeah, you just regret ever making a move that
turn. He outmatches the bear, hits you for 5. Yeah. Basically a dart trap.
It's good.
The dart trap that you have to remove.
I wonder though, like, because with Snake Trap and Bear Trap, you've got kind of the minion centric traps, and Freezing Trap as well kind of works that way. And if you look at Snipe, Dart Trap, and Explosive Trap, I feel like that's giving you a little bit more of a damage kind of approach to Hunter. Could be kind of cool once that comes out.
It's Indiana Jones. Look, he just put on a hat.
Who?
The guy. Arkansas. He put on his explorer's hat.
Is he trying to role play? Reno Jackson?
+1/+1.
Oh man, what the hell?
He has +1/+1. If he dies, one of his buddies can pick up the hat.
Oh, he can fake death and get another hat.
Yeah.
he just rolls around the ground and he can get like an extra hat.
He pops up and he has 2 hats.
Yeah.
That'd be the ultimate role play.
Yeah, magic.
Yeah.
Extra hats.
Well, Mal'Ganis pops out.
Yep. I'm not sure, like in this case, I don't think it does nearly as much as maybe North Carolina wants. It's a card that you like to have, as a last resort when you've exhausted a lot of their options. In this case, it might be, a little more, just a tiny bit more maybe than soaking 7 damage. That's all it does.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also forcing Arkansas to play sort of off curve here. Utilizing some of these resources to clear the board instead of just being able to play Dr. Boom on 7.
Right.
And having the strongest board themselves. Because that threat of Mal'Ganis is pretty large. Even just Shadow Flame, you could trade into something like the Savannah Highmane, and then Shadow Flame. All of a sudden you clear the entire board, and you gave up 2 of your big threats for almost nothing. So this way they put themselves in a lot better situation. And it is 2 traps, so we'll see which one the second one is.
I mean, would you consider going for the heal bot and just letting your opponent, like, not trigger the trap and you play heal bot instead so that they have to trade into it?
You have to, like, know that it's freezing, though.
Right.
They knew the first one wasn't freezing, so they probably thought the second one was freezing, so I guess there is merit to that. Forcing your opponent to attack him with that bow is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, we'll see, though, because there was 1 charge left on the bow, so you would have been forcing them to exhaust it. Oh, man, he's going to go for the Mountain Giant. All right. Setting up...
Yeah.
I mean, it's giving a lot of value to something like a defensive Argus top deck, for sure.
Yeah, and also, you got to get that Mountain Giant out of your hand sometime. Like, you're not guaranteed a good moment to play it. He might think that, or they might think that they're going to empty their hand a little bit next turn. Yeah. And so they might be saying to themselves, maybe we need to get this sucker out of here.
Well, it feels like the kind of card in this matchup that if you don't get it out very early, you're probably never getting it out. And that's probably the reasoning. The problem is the amount of damage that's tearing you down. We're talking about 3 from the bow, 4 from the hyenas, 2 from the hero power. Any extra damage on top looks like lethal if you're the Warlock in the spot.
Yeah, and they actually could have tapped and played the Mountain Giant still for 5 and fill up their full curve that turn, but they realized that that's too much damage. And now I believe if they roll Huffer...
Or Leok even, I think.
Do they need 2 damage? So 9... 12. No, they
need the Huffer.
They need Huffer.
Well, they did. It is their icon. It is their icon. They're gonna roll
They even said they feel obligated to play Hunter because their mascot is the Razorback. They say we have to play Hunter. Yeah. We have to play Animal Companion in our Hunter decks. And if we roll Huffer, then our school kicks us out because we don't have enough school spirit. No, it doesn't actually happen. Disclaimer.
No, it doesn't.
The University of Arkansas does not kick you out if you don't roll Huffer.
That's not hardcore enough. What is this league for?
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose? All to gain? That's not good.
But it's a little bit risky to play the Huffer in this situation because if they do get a Leok, they can't quite push lethal damage, so they might as well set themselves up to have a better board.
All right, so, well, in this case, they did not attack. Just want to point that out. They decided to hold back because Molten Giants, the threat of Molten Giants just road blocking them when they don't have Owls or Hunter's Mark is a really big deal.
Especially since North Carolina hasn't been playing the best of cards.
Right.
They had a really weak turn 7 where all they played was a Mountain Giant, which, I mean, that's actually, it's not the weakest of plays, but you can kind of guess that a couple of their cards are a little bit clunky if they float mana like that, which might indicate to you that they do have Moltons, and I guess they realize that they just don't have to take the risk with how good their hand is.
So North Carolina here, I mean, they've got to be considering the Hellfire. I can't imagine they don't. But if you do that, then you're taking all the Boombot damage, and then...
All of it.
Every single bit of it. I wonder if you could have gone for Hellfire before trading. That would be maybe a little too risky, because if the Mountain Giant dies, then you're in a really tough spot.
Those Boombots look like they got sniper status written all over them.
Oh man, Jiraxis is coming on the board. Yep, there it is.
There it is.
There we go. It's a 315. Pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, Draxus is pretty good power on the board, but in this matchup, I don't know how good that's going to be because they don't have that sort of emergency tool to bring it back up to 15.
Yeah, they really need to find something like Definitive Argus in this case. That's about all there is between them and Death. And what's interesting in this spot is that the way Arkansas played this turn, they could have played the high main, but they wanted to get the hero power because they're guaranteed to kill the opponent with quick shot. So I like that line of play.
All right, well, North Carolina can heal up with the anti-Q bot, and they don't really have enough mana to play anti-Q bot tap and look for a taunt.
Double silence, kill the Shredder.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the silencers aren't going to hit many more targets except for the Savannah Highman, and you're in a spot right now where you don't really have the luxury of waiting around for a better silence target.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that it? It looks like it. That's lethal. There we go.
Yeah, that's 14 damage, I believe, with quick shot plus hero power. So that is lethal, and it looks like Arkansas is going to take game number 1. Or Harrison Jones and friends.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Explorer's Hat roleplay really plays into their favor here.
Yeah.
They're absolutely ready for Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, these guys know what's up.